Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. This is Dosha with DoshaDreamsTarot, and this is a reading for the sign of Scorpio. This is for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, wherever you have Scorpio in your chart. Please keep in mind, it is a general reading, may or may not resonate with everybody. Just take what does, leave the rest for somebody else. Cross watchers, you are welcome here, but this is Scorpio's reading, so I know, God forbid somebody tell you what you've been up to, the way that you fucking make people feel. I'm sorry, Scorpio, I'm sassy tonight. Wow. No, everything's fine in my world. I'm just channeling you guys. So basically what I'm saying is, cross watchers, like, this isn't about you, dude. So, like, if I have to expose your bad behavior and tell Scorpio what's really going on, that's what I'm gonna do, baby. Because Scorpio, I'm Team Scorpio all the way, baby. Seriously, my sun sign, my Mercury, my Saturn, or not my Saturn, I apologize, my Mars and my Pluto. So the two planets that rule Scorpio are in Scorpio. So okay. So I love you guys. Here we are. I'm so grateful to be here. Thank you for joining me. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I don't know how I should describe myself. You'll just wait and see. Everybody else, describe me in the comments. How would you say my channel is? I appreciate you guys who do continue to come back and watch my videos. It really means a lot to me. Thank you also for everyone who has donated. Y'all are amazing, and I really don't put that out there with a lot of expectation, because it's literally, that's the whole point of like donations, you know what I mean? It's like, if people are able to and they want to, like, that's awesome, like, but if not, that's why it's like, this is free, right? Like, you know what I mean? Also, a free and easy way for you to support my channel is to like the video, or comment, even if you don't like it. I mean, don't get too weird on me though, because if it's not your reading, it's not your reading, right? So don't be all like, I'm not like that. If I do something you actually have a problem with, I need you to you can feel free to tell me what it is, okay? But we're not going to do this, I'm not this way, I'm not that way. Well, then this is not talking about you. You get what I'm saying? If the shoe don't fit, right? Anyway, sorry, I don't mean to get so sassy, y'all, but, like, anyway, cross watchers, watch out. I'm just kidding. I don't judge cross watching at all. You're welcome here. Just wanted to say also before we get started that gender is fluid, so I attempt to use gender neutral language as much as possible in these readings in order to make them more accessible and inclusive, so people can just place themselves where they fit in a scenario without getting hung up on gender, right? Without gender kind of like holding you back from wherever it is you actually fit in the reading. Yeah, I guess that's it besides our little affirmation. So let's get it. Thank you so much, Spirit, for your divine messages and guidance. We are deeply grateful, and we know we couldn't do this without you. Would you please help guide Scorpio for their highest good, Spirit, and please bless us and protect us as we move forward into this reading. Y'all, this is like the craziest energy right now. It's like I'm like, okay, this is what we're doing. Okay, so let's flip and see what we got here. Okay. Wow. I'm like, even like, oh my god, guys, I'm like even a little shaky right now. This is crazy. I did drink a lot of coffee today, I'm not gonna lie. I started drinking coffee again, guys. I really like cold brew, and the weather's changing, hot mate was great for a minute there, but now it's like I just want cold coffee, and you know what? I will imbibe, so guess what? I'm enjoying my coffee, but this just happened, like, I just started getting really, like, not nervous, guys, but, like, it's a little bit of nervousness. I don't really know what that's all about, but I think it could be, having to do with some, like, pretty major stuff happening in your life right now. I think you could be nervous because you sense that you're about to embark on something new, or you're kind of looking out into the distance about this potential new possibility, and your little dog inside, right? Like the part of you that, looks out for you. It's like you're looking out for yourself, right? Does that make sense? You may have people around you who are also being like, well, be careful, da 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 da, right? Which is like, it's just because they love you and because they're being helpful, you know what I mean? So, you know, I always encourage people, sorry, I'm scratching my leg. But I always encourage people to be open to people's cautions, but don't let it stop you from doing something that you really want to do. Because people are always going to come up with reasons about why something is sketchy or why something is dangerous or why something won't work out or yada yada. I mean, I can even be, you know, what's the word, guilty of that. I can even be guilty of that because, you know, I am a very foresight oriented person, and I'm very much like this little dog. Like if I feel like somebody is going in a direction that they may not have all the information on, it's not because I don't think that they know what they're doing or that I don't respect their, you know, reasons for doing something, like, at all. It's just because I don't know if they know, you know what I mean, what I know. And so then it's like, well, if I know what I know and that changes, like, I wouldn't do that thing, then it's like, well, what do they know and what is their justification? And you know what? More often than not, if I actually do speak up to my friends about something, usually I learn something new. And usually they may learn something new too, where it's like, oh, well, no, you already considered that, but even with that in mind, you are realizing that there's this other avenue or this other thing, like, you know what I'm saying? And I realized, wow, like, no, you know what you're doing, you're totally on point, and I support you because now I know fully what it is that why you're doing it, you know what I mean? Because, like, seriously, guys, sometimes people go on these, like, wild adventures where then you're just like, well, but did you think about that? What did you think? Because you care about them, you worry about them, you're hoping they're not just like riding some high, you know, into some brand new beginning without looking first, right? So you're just the dog being like, hey, you know. So it's almost like this could go either way. So either this is you and there might be people in your life who are cautioning you, or you may be cautioning yourself. Like, okay, that was the first energy I got. You're standing at the precipice of a new beginning, and there's this little dog in the back of your head. Okay, this is what I'm getting. That's kind of like, okay, but remember last time, like, how things went. Just be aware, like, be cautious, like, listen, you know, to what people are saying to you, you know, on all fronts, right? So it's like, this is a crazy reading, guys, because there's other cards on the table we haven't even talked about yet. But, like, what I'm getting here is it's like you need to be aware of what people are saying so that you can discern whether or not they are, like, because the little dog in the back of your head is like, is this person safe, right? Or is this direction safe? Is this job the right job for you? Is this, like, you're asking yourself questions like, oh, is my boss going to be like, you know, all these other bosses that I've had to deal with and the way that they've treated me, or, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're really, the little dog is your friend, okay? This is not, you know, like, necessarily the people in your life who are discouraging, who are just flat out don't fucking believe in you, like, excuse me, but you know what I mean? If there's people in your life like that, they shouldn't be in your life. Like, I'm not gonna lie, guys, unless it's like, oh, they're just fucking moody tooty or whatever, and so they're like this right now, but, like, you know, they're just going through a rough patch. We've been friends forever. I know they'll come around, you know, like, there's different things, like, you know, or they're your family or whatever, you know. Sometimes you have to deal with people whether you like it or not. But if you have the choice, if there's people who are just consistently discouraging you, they're probably not the best people to be talking to about your new beginnings. You know what I mean? But if you have people in your life who you love and trust and they're speaking up about something, then you should listen to them as well. Give them a chance. Just hear them out. You know, that's what I'm getting here, is just hear them out. So, with that being said, there's a couple different things coming out here. The other thing is, I know we're still focused on the Fool card, but I swear it's because it kind of is, it's going to tie together. So, anyway, we'll see. But when it comes to this, it's like, you have to be cautious as well that you're not being overly paranoid about what it is you're embarking upon. You want to be embarking with the little dog or whatever. I'm sorry, guys. It's so dumb, but it's like whatever it is that you're moving towards, it's like you want to be careful that you're not being, like, overly negative or that you're being overly fearful. But at the same time, you want to listen to that little dog, right? Because it's like it will tell you whether or not you should proceed. And so maybe it's just hold your horses a little bit, okay? We've got the Chariot card coming out. So look, things could move really quickly, okay? And you're going to have to, I think you might have to think quick here. And not only that, but I think you're also going to, like I said, try and be in balance. Because if you're moving at a fast velocity, okay, you're moving at a high velocity, you need to be cautious of your movements, because when you're going really slow and you know, turn left, it's like, okay, you're like, boop-a-doo, I'm turning left. But if you're going really fast and you turn left, like, you get what I'm saying, guys, is that it's like, no, it's like screeching and it's a whole thing. So it's important for you to stay balanced. It's just like riding a bike. If you're going slow and you lose your balance, it's not so bad. But if you're going really fast down a hill and you lose your balance, babe, yeah. So that's what I'm feeling here for you, Scorpios. It's like things are going to speed up, and so you're just going to have to be balanced here. You're going to have to, like, with the Fool card, the Fool is like looking at the Chariot, like, okay, now how do I navigate this? Because I know that I'm moving into something new. I can feel it, right? You may be really even excited about it, where you're like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is the decision and the movement and the direction that I'm taking. And so now how do I get there? How do I, like, what is you're it's almost like you're mapping, traversing your way. And you may be riding at the seat on the seat of your pants, to be honest. You might not have a lot of time to plan, okay? So I don't think you'll be planning a whole lot, but you are looking ahead, even if it's just looking into tomorrow. You know what I mean? But you're looking ahead and realizing, like, okay, things can speed up here. And so I want to, first off, listen to that little dog, right? And pump my brakes when I need to, okay? If I'm starting to go too fast, you want to pump your brakes, take a look at things, and choose wisely, choose accordingly, right? To your intention. Choose according to your intention. And if your intention is always to, seriously guys, to be healthy and happy and fulfilled and moving towards your, you know, at least just living your truth, you know, as long as you're living your truth and you're caring for yourself and you're actually being authentic and you're choosing, like, it's seriously, it's funny, it went right back over to the Chariot card again, because it's like, then you're gonna be in balance. That's what matters. It's about being in balance for the path forward. And part of that is gonna be just staying in your lane. Just came through also. Staying in your lane, but more than that, staying in your authenticity and in your truth. Like, that just is feeling really important, is that you are being truthful and good to yourself. You know what I mean? And that's going to take, like, I think a certain amount of I don't know why I'm wanting to say robust, but robust is a weird word to say, like, and not in that sentence, but like, it's going to take a lot of strength, I think, for you to, basically for you to be true to yourself when it comes to other people, okay? Knight of Cups in reverse. So I think, guys, this could go a couple different ways. But one of the ways I'm seeing it is it's like there's some type of romantic involvement here that either you are unsure of somebody or you are holding back. Probably both. But you could be holding back with your romantic feelings here because you are trying to be cautious as you move forward into the future. And it feels like things could go quickly and you're like, okay, I don't want things to go quickly, because it's like, guess what? This is not new for you, okay, Scorpio? You are a very emotion-driven sign. You're very, I mean, the way that I see it, and it's really quite beautiful also, not to toot my own horn because I am a Scorpio as well, but I see it in other Scorpios too, is it's like this emotional power that you have. And I don't want to say over people, but like you have no idea, like the way that you impact people with this kind of energy, right? Like, so it's like when you're holding that back, it's almost like, a couple different things. So like I said, You could be doing it because you're nervous about this new beginning. So you could be holding back because you're nervous, because you are pumping your brakes, because you are trying to be cautious and be aware and be like, okay, well, I need to look out for those same types of pitfalls that I've gone through before. And one of them was me being overly emotionally available or overly eager or excited to, like, you know what I mean, to please somebody and to give them your energy and your love and your, you know, your affection, that you're like driven by these romantic notions, right? Like the Knight of Cups. So this is like what I'm getting is that it's like, this is how you really are, Scorpio. Like, you really are like that. And you know what I mean? Like, I think you're very kind and you're also very passionate. And so it's a really attractive combo though. But because of your past or because of people cautioning you or whatever it is, you're like holding back on that because you're like, oh, I don't want to show somebody like how charming I really am or whatever, because I'm nervous about this thing moving forward. So I'm holding back the charm, the Scorpio charm, even though that might be how you're feeling. I feel like you're excited about this new beginning, but you're very nervous about it. So you're like really holding back. You're holding back quite a bit. So the only other thing, okay, it's not the only other thing, but this is like in league with this. So you've got the Two of Wands in reverse. Now, what I'm really seeing is this is actually looking a lot like pessimism to me. And just like I was kind of saying, like, you don't want to think negatively, you know what I mean? Because you might actually, like, it'll make the journey forward like more fearful, and you need to have less fear in order to be more balanced. You know what I mean? Because if you're afraid to show like how great you are because you're nervous about something moving forward with somebody, because you're worried about it being the same as before. That's what you're doing here with this Fool card. It's almost like I'm getting this energy of you're like looking at it like, okay, now, and which way could that go? Could that go this way? What kind of dynamic could this be? You know what I mean? Between us. And so you're kind of like, you're playing with that energy, but like in a way that's, like it's definitely driven by, like, it's driven by fear or worry. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, by pessimism. That's really what I'm getting here. Is you're looking at the future through the eyes of what could go wrong, okay? And I'm laughing because it's like, this is really natural when things have gone wrong before. You know, that's just the way, I mean, yeah, where you're just like, no, like, I remember what happened last time I was in a situation similar to this, and it doesn't necessarily mean that, like, you don't want to project your past onto your present, like, too hardcore. Like, I mean, most of the time you probably shouldn't do it at all, but because we do that as humans, we have memory for a reason. It's like, okay, if I remember that last time I, you know what I mean, tried to jump across a gap this big, I didn't make it. I fell and I hurt myself hella bad. I broke my leg or something, right? You're like, well, I'm probably not going to try and jump a gap that big again. You know what I mean? Unless I work myself up to it because I want to be better than I was or something. That's sure, people do that, sure. But I'm just saying in general, you're probably not going to do that again because you know, so if you just forgot, then you'd be like, well, you know what? Last time I jumped a gap like this, I really hurt myself. But you know what? I'm going to try it again anyway. Like, if that's how our memory was, like, just automatically like that, that would be really problematic for our survival, right? So basically we do the same thing with relationships. We do the same thing with emotional experiences, emotional wounds. So it's not just like, oh, you know, I want to protect my body. It's like you want to protect your heart too. And so I think that you're thinking to yourself, okay, well, last time that, you know, I got involved with somebody, you know, and there was this kind of situation, which is part of the reason why the Judgment card is here, because the Judgment card represents the planet of Pluto, okay, one of our ruling planets, Scorpio, and Pluto is retrograde and will be until October, and you'll probably hear me say that a lot because this Judgment card will not stop coming out. I swear to you. Just got lucky. The last, 3 readings, the Judgment card didn't come out. I was very surprised. Actually, it might have. Wait, I don't remember now. Actually, I think it might have. I don't know, guys, but it doesn't matter because it's come out so many damn times recently. And Pluto is going to be retrograde till October of this year, right? So that's going to be quite a bit of time where that we're feeling that. So it's probably going to come up. But anyway, the Judgment card really talks about things coming up from the past to be reconciled or to be looked at, to be finalized, for there to be closure, for there to be healing, right? For a judgment to be made, right? So it's almost like it's like resurrection, right? Or like, say, okay, in Christian religion, there's a couple different concepts like this. One would be like the rapture, right? And I'm just sharing that with you guys to give you like an idea of like what this means, because it's more like your soul being called to judgment, right? That's kind of where the concept, comes from. I mean, at least as I understand it, this idea, right? So give me a second, guys. But with this coming up in this context, this seems to me to not be something new to you. Like this, like the concepts that I'm talking about, I don't think they're new to a lot of you guys. And what I'm getting here is that with the Chariot card, it's like you are moving forward in a new direction. Now, the choice here, the decision that you need to make, right? Or in a way, I don't want to make it so serious where that it's like you guys are stressing about it, okay? But it's a conscious choice here. The decision is, okay, I'm moving forward into something new. I'm encountering a situation that is similar to other situations I've been in before. Now, I want to avoid the same outcome as I did. I want to prevent the same outcome as last time or the other times or whatever, however it resonates for you. You want to avoid the same outcome. So the question is, do you proceed with caution into this new potential experience here and overcome the pessimism and the fear in order to embark on this new thing that excites you, that you can feel is there's movement, there's growth, there's, potential, right? That do you move towards this with a fair amount of caution, but the things that you need to do is to be able to open up and share your beautiful self, right? Try and overcome the fear, the nervousness, right? And be able to actually extend that cup and be open to that, right? And sharing that energy that you have, because you do have it, and it's really a big part of who you are, actually, Scorpio, And I think a lot of times Scorpios get, we get stung too, So it's like when a Scorpio gets stung, it's like, it's much harder for them to open back up again, I think. You know what I mean? Because it's just like when you have a big heart, like if that heart gets broken, it's really like, it hurts on a really deep level. And I think everybody, you know what I mean, is impacted by heartbreak. It's not just Scorpios, guys, but I'm just saying that if a Scorpio loves or a Scorpio is vulnerable, it's a pretty big, how do I explain it? It impacts them on a deep level. And not only that, but they are, how do I explain this, guys? Scorpios, you know what I'm talking about here. Like, I feel like this is mostly for the cross watchers or something. But, it's like, I don't know. I'm just like having a hard time speaking it. Okay, so maybe this is part of it, guys, is that you start to shut down, right? And so you have a hard time speaking your feelings or speaking your truth, right? Or allowing that energy to work through you, like verbally, right? In what you were offering, so what you're saying, all that sort of thing, right? So you're gonna have to, okay, right? If you choose to move in this direction, this is what is, I mean, I don't want to say just necessary, but this is what would keep you balanced, because you need to be positive first off, okay? You're going to have to turn that frown upside down, right? So this is what I'm getting, is it's Judgment, the Fool, the Chariot. Like, you see how, as I've removed these two cards, you see the crescendo, right? Or like the elevation. It's like you get the opportunity, okay? Here's this thing that's similar to the past in a way, right? It is for a lot of you. It's a similar situation from the past, and it could be anything, guys. It could be love, it could be, other things, okay? So just let it resonate where it resonates for you, but, in this context, I'm getting that it's somewhat romantic, okay? Right? So, you get this reckoning, right? Or this opportunity, this thing presents itself, okay? And you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to openly, explore it, or if you're going to shy away from it and say, no, I can't, because it gives me, too much anxiety, and I shut down, and I can't be myself because I'm nervous. You know what I mean? I'm nervous about what the potential outcome could be. Last time I was super sweet and kind to somebody, you know what I mean? Like, in this type of scenario, like, you know what I mean? There was an undesirable outcome for me. You know what I mean? It didn't, like, does that make sense? In whatever way, it could have been, guys, like I said, it could be anything, but it's like, you just want to make sure that the person that you're connecting with is, a good one, right? And, like, I feel like that's really where it's coming from. It's coming from wanting to protect yourself and wanting to care for yourself, and also to protect your future, right? But, like, do you see this? So you get the decision, and then it's like, okay, the choice is which direction do you embark on? Because whichever direction you choose, it will be, like, quickly accelerated in that direction. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's like, I'm not saying that this is, like, the only big decision that you will have to make in your life or something. Like, you see what I'm saying? Every day is a series of small decisions, and this is just, like, kind of like a themed type of situation for you. But I feel like, that this is probably not the only situation, because in the Judgment card, and this is going to be happening, like, all year, guys. Well, pretty much till the fall. So, like, you see how there's multiple people. It's like these are multiple different situations. Excuse me, guys. That I've been talking and singing a lot lately. But so you may be encountering multiple different situations like this that will continue to come up, okay, through the course of from here till October. And basically, the decision to move forward with this, right, is going to require a lot of optimism and a lot of vulnerability, and you would have to be willing to do that. You know what I mean? To feel nervous and feel just as, because I feel like you're still going to be cautious, you're still proceeding with caution, but things could move quickly, and so you want to make sure that, you know what I mean, like, you have to be, like, because your life is going to, because like I said, I'm not trying to freak you guys out here, but this does feel like life decisions. It does. But these life decisions don't have to define our entire life. It just was going to define our path for this time frame. And, sometimes they are life-changing decisions here, but I just don't want to, I don't want to encourage you guys to feel pressure, okay? That is a big deal here in tarot. Like, I really want to tell you guys real quick, I never want my readings to stress somebody out to the point of making a decision out of fear, or making a decision out of pressure, and feeling like this is a big deal, this is a make or break, this is my life, and I just don't want, I understand, guys, like, here's the deal, is like, sometimes these readings are like that, and I feel like messages come through that are like serious cautions and warnings, or sometimes they can come through as like, avoid this type of person, but at the end of the day, guys, like, it's all in your hands, and this is for guidance, but also, like, how do I put this, guys? It's like, I want you to, at the end of the day, be able to look out into your future and be like, what do I feel? What do I want? And what am I afraid of? you know, and really look at those things and be your own little dog, right? Like, you know, I want to help guide you back to yourself. And so if these readings and this, you know, the conversations that I feel like I'm having with you guys, it's like, I really hope that this energy just encourages curiosity, and it encourages, you know, self-reflection, and, you know, and getting excited about the power that you have in your life. Just that in general, you're like, whoa, the decisions I make are actually very impactful to my life, and they can have meaning, and they can be connected to my healing and the things that are coming up for me to address. And it's just seeing the world through a more, you know, kind of through the eyes of divinity, right? In a way, right? Through a divine lens, where you're like, okay, what is, you know, I mean, we have to take everything at surface level, but at the same time, if things are happening in your life that you feel like are significant, or there's significant opportunities for you to reflect on yourself, or to reflect on changes that you may want to make, or you may realize, like, wow, I didn't realize I was emotionally shut down and pessimistic until, you know what I mean, I encountered some situations that are coming up and are bringing up my past and making me realize, like, oh wow, I do still have some emotional shutdown to work through, right? And I do still have some pessimism and some fear to work through, some paranoia, even, if you will, for some of you guys, you know, which I'm sorry if that is the case, because I get it. It's not easy, you know what I mean? But you have to be willing to question yourself in that way as well, you know, and say, am I taking things too seriously? I should be more curious about this. Instead of just deciding, no, this is too scary, I'm not doing this, be curious about why it's scary to you. You know what I mean? Why is it such a challenging decision, right? I mean, some of you guys might be like, well, it's obvious why it's challenging. Well, yeah, it's obvious to you, right? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like sometimes there's decisions that I put myself in this position where it's like, where basically, like, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to other people why it's such a challenging decision. Does that make sense? It's different for every person. Like, one person might be like, oh, well, that answer's pretty easy. Like, because sometimes when your friends, like, hear what it is you're going through, which, like, I pretty rarely share what I'm going through with my friends, you know what I mean? If I do, and any of you are watching, I love you, and you know who you are. But I'm just kidding, but really, I really don't, like, you know, get into it with a lot of people, like, as far as sharing, like, what I'm going through. But sometimes when I do, and my friends are like, yeah, like, that situation is really obviously just, like, this way, and I'm just like, well, yeah, but what about this and that? They're like, what? You're being way too nice. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? Or they're like, what? Like, you know, no, this is obviously a really good opportunity. Like, go for it. You know what I mean? Or like, yeah, that person obviously likes you. Something like that. You know what I mean? So it's almost like, Scorpio, if you resonate with that, where that your friends are like having to tell you, like, how, like, are you confused about this? Like, if you're, you know what I mean? Then you should have enough self-reflection to look at yourself and be like, wow, maybe I am, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I am, like, super emotionally afraid. You know what I mean? Like, because if someone's saying, no, that sounds great, you know what I mean? But like, you have to trust your intuition here, because sometimes your people can also steer you in the wrong direction, okay? Like I was saying, the people who then feed your paranoia by being discouraging and talking about all the bad things that could happen, that's not very helpful either, you know? So that's kind of what's happening here. You're getting to distinguish. And this is good. This is good. This is like a recalibration, okay? Think of it like this, is that if you, let me give you guys an example. How do I put this? This is really funny. Well, okay, so not too long ago, I was actually trying to set the scope on my rifle, and it was difficult to do, and it took a lot of time and bullets to get it right, to get where that the scope lines up with the target. It's just, it's a real thing. If any of you guys out there, you know what I mean, shoot guns, like, I'm not huge on guns, but, you know, I got them, and I know how to use them. But anyway, not to get into me, but the deal is I was trying to set my scope, but it took a lot of time and bullets to do, and I ended up spending, like, the whole, you know, time I had to shoot just setting my scope. But I was like, okay, you know, it's still not a waste though, because it's like, yeah, it was still target practicing, but I just couldn't hit the damn target until I adjusted my scope enough to be like accurate, right? And I knew I had to do that. Like I knew I needed to set my scope. So it wasn't like I didn't know and I was disappointed and everything. It's like, no, but it just took a lot longer and you know what I mean, than I thought I would, than I hoped it would. But it really was, it took a lot of adjusting. And so, anyway, what I'm saying is this situation could be a little like that, where you have to be like open to the idea that something could simply be in your life just to show you where you're at. Like, right? Like you could simply just be firing at a target just to see how far off the mark you are. Right? You get what I'm saying? So if your target is to be excited about your future, cautious in a balanced way, but still moving forward, you know what I mean? And you're like, what was I even saying? With your intention, right? I swear to God, I'm sorry, guys. It's a lot of messages come through here, and I'm just like, okay. So what I was trying to say is that if you see this opportunity as more of an opportunity for you to see how far you are basically from where you want to be, okay? Does that make sense, guys? Where it's like, where you realize, oh, wow, I do get, you know, really nervous and afraid when I am, you know what I mean, when there's a new love interest, because you're like, oh, it's not even just like this person makes me nervous. It's just the idea of, you know what I mean, being with anybody and it not going well. But then also you're like thinking about the circumstances, right? So you're like, okay, circumstantially, you know what I mean, this is reminds me too much of something else. And so you're like, last time, no, you know. So like you got to realize like that you're doing it. So once you realize you're doing that, then you can start to say, okay, well, how much of this is really valid? Okay, and I'm sure some of it is. So you could be like, okay, how much of this is valid, and then how much of this really just is me being afraid? And you know what, this could be an opportunity to reconcile that fear, because it's like, wow, this is a scary, you know, like scary to you, right? Because it's all objective based on your experience. To someone else, they could be like, this is amazing. This is exactly what I want. I'm so excited about this. Yes, I'm open to this. You know what I mean? Like you get my drift. I'm trying to say that it's a pretty wide spectrum for folks, and you can either be on one end of the spectrum where you're just like gung-ho, and in which case you could probably pump your brakes a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Or because you should just take everything slowly, okay? But the other thing is you could also be on the other end of the spectrum where that you're really cautious and you shut down just without even, you can't even help it. You just start to shut down because you're just a little bit like nervous, okay? And you may be in your head about it too. Like with this pessimism, I don't know, y'all. This is turning into a pretty long reading. I'm sorry, or unless you're loving it, then in which case you're welcome. I love you guys, but it's with this pessimism thing. It's kind of like, this is what it's all about. It's just about finding the balance, realizing that you're moving in a new direction regardless. Okay, so you get to kind of choose here. And that's the fun part, okay? This is where we get to also pat ourselves on the back, okay? Because if we never had to make any choices that were difficult or scary or whatever, we could pat ourselves on the back if we grow a little bit, right? If we learn something new, if we expand a little bit more, okay? I know it's scary, guys. I totally get it. But if you have the opportunity to do that and you feel that way and it's coming up, then it's like, okay, you know, I think it could be a valuable opportunity to see where you're at. At the same time, that's the deal, is if you feel like, no, I don't think this opportunity is right for me, it makes me nervous, I you know what I mean, whatever, then you can do that too, babe. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do, Scorpio. I promise you, you don't. And this isn't going to be like, I'm just saying, you'll get another opportunity to do the same thing, and it'll be a little different this time, whatever it is, right? But if you're looking at it as like, I want to be open to any and all opportunities to learn, even if as long as I'm being safe, you know what I mean, and I'm being, you know, true to myself and authentic and taking care of myself, setting my healthy boundaries, all that sort of deal, okay? So as long as you're doing those things, then it's totally fine for you to explore. But you, like I said, just be cautious, listen to that little dog inside, okay, guys? All right, I'm gonna leave it there, Scorpio. These have been interesting readings today. They're all like 3 3 or 4 card spreads, you got 5, and your reading was a lot longer. So I'm sorry. I'm probably just being like, I don't want to favor you guys, okay? And I know other readers do, which is so funny because I'm a Scorpio. I watch Scorpio readings from certain readers, and some readers are like, I only do Scorpio, or they just clearly do a lot of Scorpio, and like other people sprinkled in, and I'm like, I want to be fair to all of you guys, and so I'm trying not to favor Scorpio just because I am one, and and the readings are, yeah. Okay, so anyway, long story short, I love you guys, but don't tell everybody else, okay? I'm gonna love you guys. I'm just kidding. But anyway, okay, I'm going to shut this off here. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, if you need a dream interpretation, guys, I do that also. So my contact info is in the dream description box. I should just have that. That's what the comment box is. I'm just kidding, but no, email me. But so my contact info is in the description box, as well as my donation links. If you ever want to drop me a donation, it really means a lot. Thank you to those of you who have. Y'all are amazing. I literally could cry. I love hearing from you guys also. Like, please keep commenting and bothering me because it's fun, and I also just like to see that you guys dig the videos and it means something to you. So anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.